Hi, I'm Corey Baldwin.
And I'm Daniel Bowles. We're back with a new Off the Beaten Path, a podcast for basketball coaches living in obscurity, working in obscurity, and even those who have made it out of obscurity.
Our podcast is a place for storytelling, and believe it or not, some of them are true. A place to learn. Sometimes we learn what not to do on here. A place to connect, reconnect. A place, and my favorite part, a place for food, and my favorite part, not just food for thought, food for the belly. And today, Tommy Brown, who's a big-time winning coach in the NAIA level, won at Bluefield College and at Lee University, and he's going to tell us a lot about that. Over 300 wins as a head coach, but also has done some time as an assistant, a high school coach. He's been all over, off the beaten path, and even been on the women's side at a high major, Power 5, Division I, and even on the men's side as a Division I assistant. So we're going to get a lot of stories from Tommy Brown, and what he's doing now is even more phenomenal. So let's have a warm welcome here. How's it going, Tommy?
It's good to be here, CB, Daniel. I'm a little offended that I'm just now getting invited to be on here. I've looked at your guests that you've had, and you've had some good ones, but I feel like if there's anyone who fits the niche of this podcast, it's me, you know? I mean, so I'm a little offended it's been so long that we're this far into it that now I'm just getting invited. So,
well, you know, you are the first guest that we have that is out of coaching. So your story is going to be good for some guys who are either A, trying to get back in, or B, trying to find life after hoops. So you are a first, even though you were not one of the first.
Are you sure on that? I thought I saw a couple guys that were out, you know, that I looked up and down, but I believe you, you know, I believe you.
Hey, the guests we have, they kind of go in and out all the time. I think
that's
kind
probably
of the theme of the show.
That's probably what's happening.
All right, Tommy, start us off. Now, we all know you were a big time player. So start us off how you got into basketball, what made you love it, all that fun stuff, playing wise.
Well, I mean, I just love the game. I was a very good player in college, very underrated. You know, I was actually my stepsons don't even think I played in high school. And so what I've now started to do in my house right here where I work out of, I rotate a different plaque I have from high school and college up on top of the bookshelf, just so they can see, you know, that I was a pretty good player. So anyway, I felt the call to coaching in my 8 a.m. Accounting class at Covenant College. I really felt the call there that I cannot do this crap accounting stuff. So that's when I knew I wanted to be a coach, was in my 8 a.m. accounting class. And then I go on and I'm a high school coach for 4 years. And that's where I met big Coach Gibbons down there. Has he been a guest? He's not in coaching anymore. Have you had Coach G?
Oh, yeah. He has been a guest, but he coached so long it counts as being in it, right? He'll
still coach anybody that wants him to.
Yeah, that is true. So that's where I met. That's where I became part of the family, I guess, so to speak, of the Coach G family. Used to go over to his house. You know, we'd stay up till about 1 a.m. and, hang out, maybe have a couple beers. And, so that's where I got to know him, being a Florida guy. Then I was a head coach at Bluefield College, and there is no more place off the beaten path than Bluefield College. CB, you living in Waycross, I mean, that Waycross is big compared to Bluefield. So, Bluefield was obscure. Hey, I just got this Invisalign in my mouth. Does it sound like I'm stuttering, CB? Daniel, am I okay?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm a little insecure about it. But anyway, so I was at Bluefield for 7 years, then at Lee University for 11, and NAIA all the way. Then we go D2, and we were really good as an NAIA program, and then really bad as a D2 program. And then I went to Illinois on the women's side. Now, my whole life was being in small colleges.
Hold on now, Tom. Hold on, Tom. You got to back up a little bit. Your time at Bluefield, you're blowing over it there. There was a lot of accomplishments. Let's talk Bluefield for a minute. I know not only winning on the court, off the court, you were also an athletic director. You also, started the career of John Meeks, a JUCO legend. So tell us all about that stuff.
Did you look at my bio right before? Like, we've been friends for 25 years and you've never said a word about like my life before. Like, is this just part of the show? Like literally, man.
Hey,
you didn't know any of that until you read that right before you found it somewhere.
He did the pre-show research.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Hey, I lived it. We played you twice as an assistant when I was an assistant coach at Clayton State. You came down. Coach G would always overhype.
I was at Lee, wasn't I? Or did I come down as when we were at Bluefield too?
You came down as Bluefield twice, and then when you went to Lee, I was already gone. I never got to play you when you were at Lee.
Yeah. Hey, at Bluefield, we went to 4 national tournaments in 7 years, and we would have
gone. That's what I wanted to hear right there.
What now? What?
That was what I was wanting to hear. I wanted you to say that.
I don't think they've been to one. I think they've been to like 3 in their 100-year history, besides the 4 we went to.
I was about to say they've only been to 3 and you went to 4.
No, I'm saying they've been to 7. I've been to 4. That's what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
And John Meeks, if anybody knows John Meeks was recruited to play JV at Bluefield College. And
I never knew that.
Yes, Meeks was one of our 72 players we had on our roster. And he was by far and away the worst player we ever had. And so I went to Meeks. I could tell Meeks was, so detail oriented from day one. I said, Meeks, I think, took him to Pizza Hut. I said, Meeks, let's be honest, you're never going to play a minute here, but I really think you could help us coach him. He was a junior at this point. The next week, he had a database of every junior college player basically in the country. It was incredible. The guy is the most detail-oriented guy in the world. So
how did you get to Bluefield? You were a high school, Christian school, high school coach down at where was Orangewood, Oakwood? Give me the school.
It was Orangewood Christian in Maitland, Florida. Then I was an assistant for about 2 months at Belhaven University. And so did you win
any games while you were there? Did you count any of their wins during that 2 months?
Well, I was just an assistant. Do you count wins?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't care.
Probably not.
My first game, the job came open in the fall, and that's the reason why I was able to get it, I guess, being so young. But the job comes open in the fall. My first game at Bluefield was at Bryan College, and that was my first day on the job. Was our first game. First day on the job.
It was not.
My first game. We had no practices at all. I had to use a roster to coach. I'm serious. And so we play Bryan on a Friday. We lose by 1 at the buzzer. Then on Saturday, we play at Covenant, and we beat Covenant. And that's where I went to college, of course. So, and I still was using a roster on day 2. Didn't even have my first practice until the next week. So how about that?
What's all this practice talk about? You kind of were like Allen Iverson, right?
Yeah, no doubt. So, I really thought I was going to go in and change a lot, that, be a big man-to-man guy. But by about the 5th game, you don't have a preseason, so we just ran zone the whole time. We ended up going to the national tournament that year. And I was 26. I had a player, our point guard was like 25. And so, it was ridiculous. So,
all right. So how do you get the lead job from there? Now you were there how many years?
7 years at Bluefield. And I was
4 national tournament.
Yeah. And so I get the lead job. I'm from this area, from near Chattanooga, so knew some people, and I guess I was fortunate. And got the lead job, was there. We were there we had 8 years as NAIA, as an NAIA school, and we went to the national tournament every year, 8 straight. And bragging on myself again, Lee actually had only been to 2 other NAIA tournaments in their 80-year history.
Wow.
Yeah, or whatever it was.
And that is a Church of God. That's a Church of God college, right?
It is a Church of God. Yes. Yeah. Do you want to talk about religion at all? Or because I was at a Presbyterian school, the high school, and then Bluefield was Southern Baptist.
Wow. So
what
you can do it all.
Yeah, so that just makes me confused, I guess, is what it does. So, um, yeah. So Lee
So
is
being at all these Christian schools,
yeah.
let me ask you this, Tommy, and we got to get Bowles in here. Me and you are going at it. Being at all these Christian schools, what is the one thing that makes the Christian schools better? I'm not going to go negative.
That's a tough question, CB. I mean, I guess I really, I don't know that there's anything that makes it better other than um, the places where I tell you what, where I was, when you're in a smaller town like Bluefield or in Waycross or Cleveland, Tennessee, the town being smaller, I think gets behind you more when you're a small college. If you're a
I would agree.
small college in Atlanta, like Clayton, I mean, it's hard to get the people to support you, but like Florida Southern down in Lakeland so that's one of the main things that I think you get with a Christian school is they're typically in smaller towns, and so they get behind the institution. So I tell you, at Lee, we had some of the best. We would average 2,000 at least per home game. So we had great student support there. Love that. Miss that a ton about Lee. So in Bluefield, we had great support too, being a very small school. So it's kind of like the following you have South Georgia down there, being smaller towns, people getting behind you. You could run for mayor, don't you think?
Well, when you've been somewhere 13 years, you start getting too many friends and too many enemies. So I may go 50-50 and lose in a runoff. You know what I mean?
Hey, 13 years, coaching years are like dog years too. I mean, that's really like.
Yeah. And in junior college. Ooh.
That's incredible.
All right, Bowles, jump in there and give us some knowledge here, Bowles.
All right, so one of the things I'm trying to like put stuff together, and I was at Southern Tech in the early 2000s, and at that time, that's when Mountain State was rolling up there in West Virginia too. Yeah. So I guess what I'll ask, and this will be two kind of things: how in the world was NAIA basketball centered in West Virginia for a couple of years with you guys and Mountain State? And then what kind of culture shock was it for you going from the South to going up there, and just what made basketball different or special up there?
In the West Virginia area?
In that whole area.
Oh, well, Bob Boland's what made it different. Bob Boland, I mean, he built that whole institution. He and I are great friends. He'd be a good guest, CB, by the way, Daniel. He'd be an unbelievable guest, So, yeah, I mean, you talk about a worker, a grinder. I mean, he can recruit. He just recruited like crazy. And NAI, there weren't a ton of rules. So you got a lot of the academic situations were, it was pretty easy to get kids in. So, I mean, you saw some great players. And I tell you, before the eligibility center in NAI, it was incredible how talented teams were. Like our NAI teams at Lee would have beaten our Division II teams by 30 or 40. It's just a different world. So Bob Boland, that you talk about a small town that got behind a program, that was an incredible deal that he started. And he, Bob can raise money too. I mean, their budgets were off the charts. I mean, he was flying to get kids and picking them up.
I think he had a Louisville transfer when we played him one year. Like... Yeah, exactly. So, at Lee, we had a Georgia Tech transfer, Paco Diaz's little brother. Boris Diaz's little brother, Paco, played for us. We had an Indiana transfer. We had a Purdue transfer. I mean, you go down. I mean, we just had, it was incredible. But Boland would go pick people up in his plane. Like he had some guy that had a plane, so they'd just go pick them up and bring them back to the Beckley Airport. I mean, and then I don't think they ever let him leave again, so.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there.
Yeah.
So when they go D2, what were the biggest changes for you other than the rules? Were there other changes like the players you were dealing with, how recruiting, whatever?
Well, when you're a top level NAI school, you're recruiting against 2 or 3 different people. You're recruiting against, for the guys that have to go NAI, you're recruiting against Mountain State, maybe a Georgetown, somewhere in there. So Oklahoma City. But when you're a Division II, you're recruiting against a ton of people. And also the academic requirements are so much hard. But one of the hard parts for us was going under probation. So when you go NAIA to D2, you're under probation for 3 years. So you can't compete for anything. And then, you actually get a reduction in scholarships going from NAIA to D2, which is, the NAIA, listen, if you had a guy go over, if you were over your scholarship limit, we just let him play golf in a tournament. And so then you only have to count it half. There are no, it's just so, the rules are great. And I'll tell you that when you go from NAI to Division II, everybody on your campus thinks they're a compliance officer too. You've got 700 compliance officers thinking that you're breaking all these. It's a tough time. That's why everyone, you look at, most people get fired when they go up a division. Most coaches do. It happens all the time. And the percentages there are incredible of guys that get fired when they move up.
So tell us this now. There's people out there listening. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but when you get let go from there, after being so successful, and this ain't me trying to blow you up. I mean, you won 300 plus games. Like you said, 8 straight NAIA tournaments. You've been a tournament 12 out of 17 years, I believe, 15 years. So that's 12 out of 15 in your two stops as a head coach. And now you're getting called in, you're getting let go. Kind of walk us through that and what happened from there.
Well, so I was National Coach of the Year. We had 13 straight 20-win seasons. So, you're at the high of the high. And then, you're not competing. And there are a lot of factors that go into getting let go, but it all comes down to wins and losses. So Christian schools, what they do is they give you another reason for letting you go, but it's really, you're not winning. As long as you win, you're going to be fine in most situations. So, one of the things that they struggled with me at Lee was they felt they wanted me to recruit a high academic type kid. And there were some other things that we wouldn't even be appropriate to talk about on this podcast, but because ESPN could do a 30 for 30 on it, I'm sure. But anyway, so, they wanted a high academic kid, and that was very tough when you're under probation and everything like that. So it's tough. But then, so I go to Illinois and I get let go at Illinois too. And the differences between those places, getting fired is fascinating to get fired at a Power 5 school, the way it's all set up. So, I know I don't want to jump ahead.
So how did you get at Illinois, and you're the operations guy, correct?
Well, basically what I was, Matt Ballant, who was the head coach at Illinois, he calls me and I'm thinking I'm just going to do this company like I'm doing now. I'm thinking I'm done, I'm burnt out. This is whatever. He calls me and says, "Hey man, we're fighting for our job. We got to win this year to keep the job. I need some basketball help. So your position is going to be director of ops, but really you're going to be special assistant to me because all the operations stuff was already done, which you don't want me reserving planes and hotels because you're going to be in trouble if that happens." So anyway, I'm basically just his special assistant, just breaking down film. And I knew the first day I saw us practice at Illinois, we were going to get fired because we had no talent. I mean, it was easy. So to see that. So at the end of the year, end of the season, they just fired the men's coach. And so we're thinking maybe we're going to make it because they don't want to fire the men's and women's at the same time. But 3 or 4 days later, sure enough, they call Matt in and they fire him too. So then the AD, Power 5 AD, he calls each individual coach into his office. You get like 30 minutes with him. And so I'm not upset at all. I was, I knew it was going to happen. It wasn't like when you're the assistant getting fired, you take it a lot less personal than when you're the head coach. So I was just like shooting the breeze with the guy, the AD. So it's like, this is the easiest conversation I've ever had. And one of these is what he said to me. And so we became friends and all that. So, but anyway, it's such a different, the way it's all handled, so
Now, did you leave Illinois and go directly to Presbyterian from there? Is that our
Yeah, actually, I took the Weber International job down in Florida for about 2 weeks, and then got hired at Presbyterian. So I pulled a 2 weeks twice in my coaching career, CB. I was the head coach at Covenant College for about 2 or 3 weeks. Do you remember that? And
Well,
then
it's a great story on that. You get the job. I see you at the state. I hook you up with this player.
Yeah.
You take him. You
Yeah.
talk to mommy and him, and it's done. I'm at having a recruit in. I get a phone call from a number I don't know. I answer it, and a mom chews me out for 20 minutes. But how dare I hook her son up with a guy that not even the coach there? And I was like, what? You still owe me a beer for that one, probably. The kid ended up going to a Division I. That's what's the crazy part. He re-entered the recruiting world and had a good run with an older AAU team and ended up being a Division I player.
Who was it?
He was ready to be a Covenant College Tommy
Scott
Brown player. He was ready. So you go from Illinois to Presbyterian. So you went from being a head coach, being on the women's side, now back to being on the men's side. Both Division I's here in your last couple of stints. How was that?
Well, at Illinois, it spoils you because if we were in a bus at Bluefield, we thought that was high class. If we ate something besides fast food, we thought that was incredible. At Illinois, we were on chartered planes, and we never got in past 12 o'clock, not one time. When we'd play at Maryland at 7, at Maryland. That's a long way from Champaign, and we'd be in bed by midnight. It was incredible because it was absolutely phenomenal. We'd eat at Ruth Chris type places the night before games. It was unbelievable hotels we would stay in. The amount of money at that level is crazy. We flew from Champaign to Madison, Wisconsin. It's 170 miles, CB. 170 miles. We chartered a plane. Took like 5 minutes. It's just ridiculous, the amount of money at those levels. So
it had to be awesome from you going from your Bluefield days.
Yeah.
Every now and then thinking of some of your travels at Bluefield.
We had 180. I was in charge of the booster club that we had. We had $180,000 in it. We didn't know what to use it for. I kept saying, how about salaries? How about, but they wouldn't go for that. So, seriously, think of having that much money. You don't even know what to do with it. It's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of money that is at that level, So, but it was fun. And then Presbyterian, Presbyterian is the smallest Division I in the country, the smallest Division I, and the arena is, I wouldn't even call it an arena. It's a, bad high school gym. Yet I'm telling you, I got calls the whole D1 mentality of athletes. People that never called me back all of a sudden are just killing me, because they wanted their kid to go D1. And then, like you look at Lee, the campus and there's some good people at Presbyterian, don't get me wrong, but the whole program at Lee is so much better than Presbyterian's, yet it's D1. So, but it was fun coaching in, Thompson Bowling Arena and Virginia Tech, all these big time programs. That was fun. So, anyway, it's the whole mentality of that drives me crazy, really.
Coach, for some of the people that listen, we got a lot of coaches that are, maybe in coaching, maybe high school, junior college, whatever. Just kind of, you spoke about it a little bit, but talk about your talent level at your Lee and your Bluefield compared to a Presbyterian, where guys just an understanding of, hey, these aren't that different.
Listen, those Mountain State teams, they would play Eastern Kentucky in a scrimmage, beat them by 25 or 30 every year. That's what we're talking about. When I was at Lee, we beat East Carolina in Conference USA, and we beat them even though they had 10 straight possessions where they shot free throws. 10 straight possessions. It's unbelievable. Like we would have, just we would have beaten mid majors like crazy. I mean, we had high major transfers on our team, and then we had some JUCO guys that didn't meet the requirements. So I mean, we had big time talent. We really did. So you know, I run a little recruiting service on the side, and it's crazy how athletes have no idea how good small college basketball players are. I mean, go work out with CB's team. You know, you might not come back alive, first of all, and second, you know, you'd be shocked at how talented those guys are. And you know, the Power 5 guys, the only difference in my opinion, looking at those guys, is just the way they look. Really, they're just longer, and you know, that's all it is. Everybody's got good guards. You know, if you can't find good guards, you know, you got an issue. But just the length at the Power 5 levels would be different. But we had that at Lee. I mean, when we were NAIA, we were huge, absolutely huge.
So I always try to tell high school coaches, be careful of the comment to college coaches. Coach, he can play at your level. Don't say that if you've never seen a game at that level.
One of the things I did when I was at Presbyterian, I would go and tell all my small college coaches that I'd been known for 30 years to be like, hey, we got a guy that can't play for us, but can play at your level. So I would use that little joke on.
I like. All right, Tom, you segue. Tell us what you're doing now after you leave Presbyterian, you know, and a long career of coaching. How many years did you coach total?
I was a head coach for 18 years. High school coach. Anyway, you know, it's 22. A long ass time. You know, it was a long time. But I'm running a company called One Heartbeat. And what I do is I go to schools and I teach mental toughness and confidence, and I teach what's called a warrior culture. It's so incredible what I do is I get to go to schools and I don't have to worry about anybody's feelings. I don't have to worry about any parents. I can go there and speak my mind and help people be tougher and more confident, and then I can leave. It is the greatest job in the world. I don't have anybody telling me what to do. There's not some administrator that knows nothing about basketball trying to tell me, you know, hey, do this, do that. I don't have a principal I'm working for. So it's really incredible. And I get to help a lot of kids. I've probably done over 1,000 clinics in the last few years. And I just love doing it. So,
you know, he came and spoke to our team. I can speak, you know, from experience for people listening. It was unbelievable, and did a you know, great job. It was during the COVID when we wasn't able to meet on campus, and we did a Zoom like we're doing now. When it was over, the amount of guys that called me right was more than, and we probably had 8 or 9 people speak that some or 12, and that was probably the main one where guys were calling and so, man, I love this, I'd like to play for that guy. And I was like, no, actually you wouldn't. He's not that cool when you play for him, but it was really good stuff. It was really good stuff.
I did one for big Justin Newton here a couple weeks back. He's got it. I tell you, I really enjoyed his team. They're a good group of guys. You know, did one with Brian. I did a softball team in Oregon last weekend. Oregon Tech, they're #1 in the country, so that was fun. And baseball team. So I'm doing a lot of traveling to different places, and I love doing it. CB, I got this new metaphor. I don't know if you and I even know what a metaphor is, but so it's this new thing. We've got a pit bull now. And are you a pit bull or are you a golden doodle? My wife has this golden doodle, and we spent like $2,000 for the dog. We get her it's unbelievable. No doubt my wife likes this dog more than she likes me. And so, but anyway, my son found this pit bull. He goes to Swanee, and he found this pit bull in the mountains up there. It was abandoned, so it's this rescue dog. So we have to keep it because he can't keep it in his dorm room. And my wife's like, we ain't keeping that dog. We're not keeping that dog. I'm telling you, we're not keeping it. So anyway, Sadie, my golden doodle, is chasing rabbits all the time. Well, one time she chases this rabbit, and chases it back into Grundy, who's my pit bull, and Grundy rips that rabbit's face off. I mean, I'm telling you, it's the most awesome thing I've ever seen. And my wife screaming, "Get rid of that dog right now." Well, about 3 or 4 days later, we've got this German Shepherd that lives a couple houses down. And this German Shepherd comes down, and Sadie, my golden doodle, tries to pick a fight with her. Well, this German Shepherd starts kicking Sadie's ass. I mean, I'm telling you, and my wife's screaming. We're on the front porch. Well, Grundy, my pit bull, charges that that German Shepherd, knocks him about 5 feet, headbutts him, and the German Shepherd just cries as it, runs off. And then German Shepherd won't even look our direction now. So
I love it. I love it.
So you are a pit bull, CB. You are a pit bull. You remind me a lot of Grundy, because listen, like off the court, like right now, like you're so laid back. You're such a great guy, hanging out, unbelievable. You get between those lines, you are a pit bull, and you're going to rip somebody's face off, because they do keep score, don't they, CB? Right?
They do keep score. They do keep score.
I mean, we're not doing upward athletics where there's no score.
No upward.
So my new thing, Daniel, is: are you a pit bull or are you a golden doodle? Which one are you? Because when it's between the lines, you better be a pit bull.
I love it. Give us a quick one on the
be the thumb.
Do that, or is that something you don't want to do on the podcast?
No, I'd love to do it. So if anybody wants to get in touch with me, my Twitter is be the thumb. My email is I guess it's at be the thumb, right? CB, you're the
I'm the Twitter guy. It's at be the thumb.
Yeah, at be the thumb. My email is bethethumb@yahoo.com. The reason why I use that is most teams have someone like the 5 fingers. The index finger is the pointer finger. They don't ever embrace personal responsibility. They're always blaming everybody else. The middle finger, and I'm not flipping you guys off, is the bad attitude. The ring finger is the person with commitment issues. They're the person never on time to practice. They just never work on their game outside of practice. The pinky's the guy on the team you don't even know why he's there. So you want to be the thumb. The thumb's by far and away the most important finger. It holds everything together. I broke my thumb one time. It's like the whole right side of my body was disabilitated. So, be the thumb. And so if you need to get in touch with me, you want me to do a clinic, they're very affordable. They're way too cheap, CB, by the way. My wife.
They are.
They're way too cheap. Yeah. But anyway, so the index finger blames everybody else. That's the worst finger in my mind, though. And then the middle finger is the bad attitude, the ring finger, commitment issues, and the pinky, you don't even know why they are there. So anyway, so be the
thumb. Be the thumb.
You're a pit bull and you're the thumb, CB, So.
Man, I love it.
My wife says,
so let's go a little light.
My wife says I'm the pinky in our family. So,
Oh, man. That's not good. All right. So here we go, Tommy. We're going to take us to the lightning round. And I'm going to start us off. I'm a big foodie. Best place to eat in Cleveland, Tennessee?
Jenkins. Have you ever played Cleveland State? Did you ever go there?
I've been there to recruit. I've never played. No, sir.
Yep. Jenkins, by far and away the best place. Yep. Chicken salad. It's unbelievable. Good place.
All right. What about best place to eat in your time in Champaign? Wasn't there long. But...
Yeah, I was only there, about 5 months, but there's a little place called Walters. Unbelievable up there. There's a ton of great little spots in that college town.
All right. Now, who's the best coach you ever coached against or scouted to prepare for? I know you don't want to give us one because you'll piss somebody off. Give us 2 or 3 or how many ever.
The best ever. I tell you, the guy at knee neighbor at Christian Brothers, now he's at Delta State. He's really good. There's a lot of Lenny Acuff's really good. There's so many of them really. I tell you who is he was at Oklahoma City is the guy at Jack State. What's his name?
Ray Harper.
Yeah, he's not flipping coins either. So there's a lot of, and then my year at Presbyterian. There's some good. The guy Kelsey at Winthrop, everybody hates him, but he's really good. So
that's good.
A lot of good
All right.
ones.
Now this
CB, it was definitely, the best assistant when he was on the staff of, he was the guy I could tell was
in
the
college.
brains behind the operation back then,
Gotcha. Worst you've ever coached at in college?
Worst what?
Gym, arena.
The old Virginia Airmont gym. Daniel, did you ever go there?
We never went there.
Oh man. Hey, the old gym, the gymatorium in Emmanuel was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got in trouble for saying that place should be condemned. Apparently their president was listening. Wasn't a great thing.
They've got the reserved seats there, right? Didn't they have the chair backs you couldn't sit in?
Yeah, and then one of the kids, we had a guy put the ball over his head, throwing it in, and one of their kids in the student section bumped it out onto the court. They get it and go dunk it on the other end. So there was a piece of the ceiling that fell down on the floor. I mean, that place should have been condemned. They shouldn't have been playing there, no doubt.
That's not the first vote for Emmanuel's old gym. We've had a few of those in these.
Yeah, that was definitely it.
All right, now I've got two more. What's the most humbling experience you've had as a coach? Winning so many games like you've won, you kind of start climbing the mountain. You think you're pretty big time, and then you go and you're at an AAU event and they want to charge you for being a high school coach. You coach basketball, or I don't know, something like that. What's that moment you had where it kind of brought you back down to the size?
Where was it where you snuck me in at that AAU event? Because is Watkins, is he still mad at me about that? But that was pretty humbling.
I think so.
Yeah, so I think you did. The most humbling thing ever happened to me in coaching was I'm at Bluefield. We're playing Tennessee Tech, and they're beating the piss out of us. And so one of our guys, we make a lazy pass. They're denying everything. They had a guy tip the ball out of bounds on the sideline. I'm hardly paying attention, and it hits me square in the groin. And in the whole crowd, like you could hear it at Tennessee Tech. And like 2 seconds later, you hear the whole crowd go, "Oh," at the same time. And then this asshole referee who had teed me up earlier just comes over and starts making fun of me. And I'm in so much pain, but I'm trying to walk it off, and I just basically almost collapse on the side. So Jeff Liebman was the coach at Tennessee Tech, and Schulman was his assistant. They said that's the funniest they've ever laughed in their entire life, seeing that on.
That was nice of them. And I didn't sneak you in just in case Chris Watkins listened. I knew nothing about that.
I'm sorry. I like Chris a lot. He's a good dude. So
he is. All right. So my last one. If you ever got back into coaching, and I know it's a big if, you've enjoyed your time out, what's the one thing you would immediately change about what you did before?
Well, if I coaching at the collegiate level, I would never recruit someone who's not competitive and can't shoot unless they're just a 5-man. That's what I would do. I never recruit guys that can't shoot and guys that don't compete. Those two things. And then I'd try to figure it all out outside of that. So.
All right, your turn, Bowles.
All right, CB rolled through something right there. He got a lot of good ones in. First one I'll ask, CB asked you about the worst gym. What's the best environment or the best experience you've had on a game day?
I tell you, I think our league experience is the best. I mean, the students there were phenomenal. You talked about Mountain State. One time they were ranked #1 in the country and were 25-0, and we beat them. And I mean, that was really, you could even YouTube it. I used it in my clinics too. By far, I say the league crowd student section was amazing. We had the rugby team sit. I know this is rapid fire, but we had the rugby team sit on the baseline, and I would always feed them information on the other coach and stuff. They were unreal. Yeah.
And this one may tie in with the Mountain State. What's your most memorable game? A game, it could be a win or a loss, but one you look back and you're like, man, that was it.
I tell you, our last game as an NAIA program where I did a terrible job coaching and we got upset. I think we had a team that could have won it all, and we got upset in the Sweet 16 in the NAIA National Tournament. And I kicked myself on a couple of things. I was just too stubborn at the time. So that one sticks out the most for sure.
Yeah. Tell people who are listening that I always like to go back to this one. It's one of my favorite experiences. Tell people what the NAIA National Tournament was like. That's one of my favorites ever.
Oh man. Well, 32 teams. You all stay in the same hotel. It's held at Municipal Auditorium, which has held more Final Fours than any other venue. It's Kansas City. It's downtown. So, you literally walk from your hotel across to the arena. Everything's within distance. They have this thing called the Power and Light District. It's not the red light district, CB. It's the Power and Light district. So it's just a great experience. And 32 teams. You start games at 9 a.m. The last one usually tips off about 11 p.m. I mean, it's just wall to wall. When you're not playing, you just walk over there, watch the second half of a game. When you're not preparing, it's a great experience. It really is.
All right, I've got two more. I've got one of mine, and then my the Dan Searle question we always get. This one may not be a fast one, but difference in coaching women's and men's basketball.
Well, I mean, politically correct. Now it's hard. You got to say no, there is no difference at all. But for me, the biggest difference was what they talk about off the court. You walk in on your guys but girls would be talking about shows I'd never seen and relationships and stuff like that. That was the biggest difference to me. I've always heard guys teams need to play well to like each other, and girls teams need to like each other to play well. But there wasn't much difference at all. A lot less than I would have thought. I mean, girls, it's the same. Guys and girls aren't that different now.
Good deal.
So.
All right, and then the last one. This is one of our normal ending questions here. CB gets the one about the best places to eat. Question I get is either the best book that you've read or the best book you're reading now.
I think the best book out there is The 10 Qualities of a Warrior. That's going to come out by Tommy Brown here in about a week. I think that is definitely that, or The Truth About College Recruiting, written by Tommy Brown. I think those are the two best books I would recommend to people on Amazon for sure. Has anybody ever done that? Has anybody ever plugged their own book?
That is the best answer to that question we've ever had, I think.
Yeah, there you go. By far and away, those are the two best books out there, destined for bestseller. So.
Like I'm on the shopping network right now.
You're getting it off of Amazon?
I feel like I'm on the shopping network here selling stuff.
Yeah, be the thumb. And if you contact me today, I'll give you money off on your first clinic. How about that? Is that good?
I love it. That's real good. I love it. All right, Tommy, before we end up, with you out of coaching and now helping coaches and mentoring coaches and players and helping with recruiting and all that fun stuff. Give us, a little closing remarks here on, anything maybe you didn't get to cover that you would like to say.
Well, one of the things in basketball clinics I do is I'll go to a school and I'll work with them for 1 day or 2 days. And, if they want me to do something on the court with pack line or maybe some kind of press and run stuff, even though you're the expert on that, but I do, we can cater whatever we do when we go to a school based on what their needs are. And all the clinics involve mental toughness and confidence, which is the why behind what I'm doing right now. I just love going to places and helping them out because we all need to be tougher. All of our teams struggle with confidence. So I just, it's so rewarding doing that. So that's just, it's very affordable, very cheap. And we've done tons of clinics in Georgia and Alabama and all over the South. So.
All right. Well, that's awesome, Tommy. And we appreciate you taking time to be on here. If you please contact Tommy at Be the Thumb on Twitter. I think he would be a great asset to your program in the season or preseason or postseason. Be a good clinic speaker, be even better a banquet speaker. So definitely Bowles, tell us how they can get in touch with us.
All right, to stay in touch with our podcast on social media, we've got Instagram at Off Beaten Path Podcast, and Twitter is at Off Beaten Path _. Well, thank you guys for listening to our Off the Beaten Path podcast.
Hey, and this podcast is a podcast for those who want to coach, those who have been in and out of coaching, those who support coaches, those who hire and fire coaches, and hopefully watching us doesn't make you not want to coach. We want to grow the community. Appreciate you, Tommy.
Thanks for having me, guys. You're a pit bull, CB. Daniel, great to see you again.